Okay. Good morning, everybody. I am Ukrainian. I don't consider myself from Ukraine. I was born in Austria. My parents were refugees escaping the hellhole of Ukraine in '45. I spent 3 years in a refugee camp in Austria, and then we came to Canada. So I grew up in Canada. Just a brief thing. Let's see, now I have to figure out how to run this.
The mouse should do it.
I'm not so good.
Just click the left mouse.
Okay, all right, I'm not sure you can see this. This is just a boring picture of the funds that were raised. The committee started about March of 2022. There was a gala dinner in June of 22, and we raised over $100,000. And that was sent to 4 clubs in Poland. It was used to help the Ukrainian refugees in Poland, that there were many, many of. It was used also to provide medical supplies to Ukraine, but they went through Poland, and it was also to build in one destroyed community in Ukraine to build modular housing, temporary housing, so people had a roof over their head. And the reason we went through Poland is partly for security, because the Polish Rotary could order medical supplies or whatever other supplies they needed from Germany or wherever in the world they needed it to come from, get flown into Poland, and then it could go by truck to Ukraine. Trying to fly into Ukraine would have been kind of difficult. And then we got a few more donations, about 1,700. And then after that, until August of last year, a number of our clubs in the district, especially the ones that had committee members on the Ukrainian committee, applied for grants of various sorts, some from the district DDF funds and some from the Gundaker Foundation. And so we got another, even I can't see the numbers from here, but we got another $30-some thousand.
You could see it.
Oh, I could, yes, okay. So we had a total of 22,000 from the additional grants, and 20,000 of that again went to Poland, this time specifically to be sent to send medical supplies and equipment to the hospital in Ternopil, Western Ukraine. It's a university-associated hospital that's, top rate. So that's what happened last time. And for a while, our committee wasn't doing anything because it was just, you can't overload people. And we have gone on now. Anyways, okay, so this is in Poland, a truck being loaded with supplies. They all said what they were. They were from the Rotary Club in Poland going to Rotary in Ukraine, wherever it was going. So I've got lots of pictures of that, but anyways, just to show you a little bit. This is Joan and Joe Batory. Joan was the driving force behind this. She's quite a woman. She just organized everything. She's of Polish origin. And unfortunately, she passed away about a month and a half. It's a great loss for us, for the district. She had been district governor in 2010-11. So this is a tribute in part to her. So I'm going to show you a little bit of Ukrainian history just to orient you. and to explain some of the reasons for the Russia invading Ukraine. So if you can see the gray, thick, oh, that's not the right slide, is it? Okay, yeah, it is. It looks very different on the screen. You can see, well, I don't know if you see it on here. There's a thick gray line that outlines the current. Oh, okay. Thank you. So there's a thick gray line that shows the boundaries of present-day Ukraine. It's kind of whitish gray. What you see in the outlined with white, the small area, was the region of Rus in 750 AD. To go back, the original name of Ukraine was Rus, R-U-S, which means those who row. And that was named because the first city that became the capital of Ukraine, Kyiv, was named after Kay, who was a Norseman, Scandinavian, who came from Scandinavia, down the Dnieper River and settled in Kyiv and started the community there. So there was a lot of trade. Kyiv was on trade routes east-west, north-south, so there are a lot of people coming to trade, and Kay and his family settled there and grew a community, which is why it's Kyiv. Eve, you've seen lots of Ukrainian names with an IV on the end. That's a genitive. It means of or from. So of K. If you have Stanislav, it's of Stanislav. Just a side point. Then the larger green area is where Rus grew to. So it went up north, slightly east and west. And that was about 1050 it was at that point. The arrows show the invasions by Mongols. From further away, the shortest arrow is invasion by other tribes, not Mongols. So this is, I guess I'll just take this out. I'm going to do a little bit of East European history. This was a time of people or countries building empires. So you can see this shows Eastern Europe in the 14th century. And if you look at the brown, the small lighter brown area is Lithuania in about 1200. Then the darker brown, Lithuania has expanded to there, and then the very light brown is again in the 1340 or so, Lithuania expanded to there. And then to the east is where it was by 1390 or so. And then the two little kind of pattern areas are, as far as Lithuania had expanded at all. And you can see up on the right, the pinkish stuff, there's something called Muscovy. Its capital was Moscow. Moscow didn't exist till about the 13th century. So that's an important thing to remember. And the whole southeast was the Golden Horde, Mongols. Did that?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, it's just a very different color. It's orange on here, but makes it strange. Anyways, eventually you had a Polish Lithuanian, and I'm leaving out lots and lots of history. This is the 17th century. Polish-Lithuanian Empire went up to the Baltic Sea and almost down to the Black Sea. Right along the Black Sea and Sea of Azov is the Ottoman Empire. And to the right, there is the Tsardom of Muscovy. They have taken over a huge swath of land. And then there's on the west is the Habsburg Empire. Okay, forward 2 centuries, and you don't even see Lithuania any longer. And now it is not the Tsardom of Muscovy, it's the Russian Empire. And this is where the war has sort of started, because under Catherine, Princess Catherine, or Tsarina Catherine, they renamed Muscovy to Russia. Basically, they took the name of Rus, which at that point it had been part of Lithuania, then Poland in part, and it's more complicated than that, but they took the name Russia and they took Russia's history going back to the 7th, 8th century and decided that it was theirs because it was a much more interesting history, and put them back further, and that way they could claim Ukraine that really was part of Russia. They're just little Russians. What was I going to say? This would be equivalent to, say, the U.S. taking its history, not starting when the colonists came, although there was a history before, but not written, but taking their history, taking over England and taking its history and calling England's history, all of its history, American history. That's basically what Russia did. And Ukrainians were, the interesting thing is Ukrainians, through all these changes and through all this, still retain their identity and their language. Okay, and this shows you Ukrainian area right now. You see the sort of dark green line around. That's Ukrainian ethno-linguistic territory, which means it's still a lot of Ukrainians live there, but it isn't formally part of Ukraine. So that's my little geography lesson. I'll show you a little bit of Ukraine. Kyiv is in the center of the country. It's the oldest city in Ukraine. It's has some buildings going back to at least pieces of it, to the 9th century. It's golden domed. You see these churches all over a place with golden domes, and that's gold, not gold plated, but gold whatever. This is another overview of Kyiv, and you see golden domes all over the place. It's a lovely but very grand city. And here's Kyiv in the evening with the Dnipro River running through it. And here's Lviv, which is in western Ukraine. It's where my family is from. It's a lovely city. They call it the Paris of Ukraine. It reminds me of Vienna. It's a much more livable scale than Kyiv in many ways. I like it better, but maybe that's just because that's where my family's from. And I still have family there. And then another picture of view. These 4 statues are on each corner. One of them is on every 4 corners of the view City Hall. And the interesting thing is, it's not historic figures or important people, it's Greek mythology. So you've got Diana here on the left, Adonis, and then Amphitrite, and Neptune. And then this is Kharkiv on the eastern edge of Ukraine. It's a much newer city. I haven't been there, I can't tell you anything much about it, but you can see it's also a very large city. It's sort of the artsy and culture capital of Ukraine. So a cathedral in Kharkiv, and now the war starts, and this is, you can see lines of cars going out of Kyiv, almost nobody in the other direction. You know, just people leaving. Then I'll just show you some of the effects of the war. On the left, you've got, is in Kyiv, in the central square, there was a statue of a historic figure, and they covered it all to protect it from being destroyed. On the right is a missile attack on Irpin, which is a suburb of Kyiv, and it's just destruction. And this is just shows you something of how people feel or felt. This is Kyiv living with blackouts. I don't know how much you see here. You can see it's Getty Images, but there's housing and some lights in some buildings. The other one is a bus stop. I don't know, there's a vertical thing sort of halfway across, which is a sign for the bus stop. There's some people, you can't see on here the bus, but it's barely visible. So you had people living with rolling blackouts. There's about 20% of Ukraine's energy is functioning. I was going to say also that what Russia did is bomb schools, hospitals, energy stations, but basically what they have wanted through all their history is to destroy Ukraine and Ukrainian people, destroy their culture, destroy them. In the early 70s, the National Library of Ukraine, which had all the historical texts, burned. No fire trucks came for almost 3 hours, so they burned to the ground. Luckily, some of the librarians had taken the most valuable things out and were storing them in other safe places because they were afraid of this happening. But still, Ukrainian was not allowed to be spoken. Schools used to be in Ukrainian, the Ukrainian language. No books could be published in Ukrainian. You would sneak in books from the West. It was a horrible time, and they would like to basically destroy Ukrainians, which is what they're doing now. It's not so much that they want to win the war, they want to destroy Ukrainians. Here's another example of destruction, and some more before and after pictures. This one's a beautiful building in Kharkiv. This is what's left of it. And that was on University Building. So, to get to the meat of it, we had been considering various things. Schools need to be rebuilt, but then always there's a chance that you rebuild it and it will get destroyed again. Although now, any schools that are being built, they're putting in bomb shelters, so there's a place to escape to. But, and the hospitals need medical aid because they have, in addition to the usual, they have people that are injured in the war. And so they need lots of supplies. But we found a project that I think lots of people are working on, helping children, helping with medical care. What we thought we would do is work on these solar power, what's called a resilience kit. And what that consists of is, it's a sort of self-contained small solar array that will get you off the grid. It consists of 4 solar panels. In the middle, you see the controller. So the solar panels go to the controller, which will convert it to electricity, and then it can go to houses. But when the grid is on, you get the electricity coming from the grid directly to the houses. It just passes through the controller. There also is a battery, so when the grid is off and it's nighttime, you're not making electricity through the panels, you have a battery that can then power your equipment. And one of the things is that they have, I think, 2-hour stints when electricity is on, and then some hours off, and then there might be another 2 hours in the middle of the night, which means if you need anything that needs electricity, that's when you use it, and it's very disruptive. So this would provide electricity all the time. When the grid's on, you get it from the grid. When it's off, you get it from the solar panels, or you get it from the battery. It will be, one of the important things is it will be enough to run a refrigerator. Refrigerators don't take much electricity, so you can have a refrigerator running all the time, which is pretty important. You don't want a refrigerator on for 2 hours and off for 8 and on for 2. It's not very good. And all sorts of small appliances can be used. Digital equipment, Wi-Fi. It will not provide heat, that will take a lot more. But these are meant mainly for southern Ukraine, where there's a lot of sun and it's a warmer climate, and these would do great to help people live a slightly more normal life. It costs $1,000 for one complete kit, which consists of the components I've shown you. 150 of that goes for transport from China. It will be transported to Odessa by ship. And then 150 for the controller, 350 for solar panels, and 350 for a battery. So that is what we would like to collect money for. Seems to me it would be a very good project. Doesn't work so well in the north, but it would help, at least in the south. And so we're asking people to donate. The information has changed a little bit. We were going to have it go to the Foundation of Philadelphia Rotary Club, but since Joan is gone, that's really unclear. And so for now, it will be going to any checks can be made out to the Gundaker Foundation. And they should be sent to David Houtz, who's treasurer of the Gundaker Foundation. Make sure that the memo line says it's for the Ukraine Relief Fund. Or electronically, you can go to not PhiladelphiaRotary.org, but GundakerFoundation.org. And there will be a donate button. I haven't seen it yet. I just got this information this morning, so that's why the slide hasn't changed yet. And again, specify Ukraine Relief Fund. And thank you very much. Any questions?